came here because the topic of devolution inspires a lot of hope among the citizenry that now we are talking of the transfer of powers and responsibilities from the national government to the lower tiers of government, in particular to local authorities. It has been on the cards since 2013 that we have a provision of the Constitution that states that we must devolve governmental powers and authority. But this has not happened. We are now in 2024, nearly 11 years after this happened. Our major worry is emanating from the critical shortcomings in fiscal, administrative, and political decision making by the local authorities, where they have been hindered in terms of their execution of council policies, in terms of the Urban Councils Act, in terms of the Regional Town and Country Planning Act, in terms of the Rural District Councils Act. But most importantly, the Constitution highlights that in every year, not less than 5% of the revenues raised should be distributed to local authorities and provincial councils as part of their share in that particular year. What has apparently been happening is that in terms of Section 301, subsection 3 of that Constitution, they have not in fact gone ahead to enact an act of parliament to cater for the mechanisms and the procedures for the implementation and the coordination of devolution implementation. So this huge gap has been abused by most central government officials who are using the Urban Councils Act to issue ministerial directives to hinder local authorities when they want to make decisions around their finances, when they want to make decisions with regards their administration. They have hindered them in terms of their policy articulation and procedures. You realize that in terms of the Constitution as well, there is a provision that says local authorities can be given powers, executive authority, and by that, once we have that authority, local authorities, mayors or chairpersons would then be elected directly by the people. They have not dealt with that in all legislation. What has happened now is local authorities are operating at a level of being a small and insignificant subunit of the national government. So when they want to make critical decisions, they fail to do so. Look at the Rufaro Stadium fracas with the Sakunda Holdings. That decision was made by the city of Harare to say we no longer want to proceed with the contract. Look at the issue in respect of the Pomona dam site. The city of Harare made a resolution to say we are reversing the engagement of the contracted company to deal with the Pomona dam site. But the national government issued a statement to say a local tier cannot overturn a decision made at the national government level. That alone tells you where real powers and responsibilities lie. Local authorities are being handicapped not only by their own incompetencies or shortcomings, but by external factors beyond their control. So the budget could not be approved, and we are looking at the disbursements. The disbursements, when it comes to roads rehabilitation, we had a crisis here, road rehabilitation, where we had a situation of, for example, Boshoff Drive, that stretches from Seke Road to Simon Mazorodze. That road was done by CMED, CMED, DS Mali failed to execute that project. And the funds were not disbursed to the city of Harare. They ignored the inputs of the city of Harare engineers on issues to do with the drainage along that road. That road is now heavily potholed, it's damaged because it does not meet basic road standards. And that is because a local authority without the authority always has to rely on the national government for it to progress. And that is our crisis. So when they are talking about devolution and decentralization, our major concern is around the failure at the national government level to put it as a priority. Devolution is not a priority when it comes to the real transfer of powers. Powers are only spoken of, but they are not practically transferred. So at the end of the day, we are talking of something. So the essence of this gathering by the Zimbabwe Council of Churches is that it is facilitating a conversation between parliamentary portfolio committees responsible for the PES and other stakeholders, including civil society, and the Ministry of Local Government and Public Works, to have a conversation around how best can we tackle the issue of devolution implementation, in particular the disbursements of devolution funds. These intergovernmental fiscal transfers, they have always been there, but they named them devolution funds. But the devolution that we are seeing, it's a re-centralization of governmental powers and the responsibilities. So ultimately, we are not likely to see real devolution probably in this parliament, because the indications are that if you read through the devolution policy, it tells you that government wants to centralize everything, and that's our major concern. And I'm happy to have participated, and I am here to receive your questions if you have some questions for clarifications. Thank you very much.